Today, I rise in support of the Bipartisan Veterans Choice Program Improvement Act. Now, I'm going to start out my remarks by saying that Chairman Isakson was here earlier, and he had a meeting he had to get to. Johnny's been through some tough surgery, and it's good to have Johnny back. But the fact of the matter is he supports this bill. He's the original co-sponsor of this bill. And the same can be said for Senator Blumenthal, who also had a meeting, wanted to be here. But once again, as somebody who strongly supports this bill, we heard from Senator Schatz earlier, this bill truly has bipartisan support, not only in the VA committee, but also in this body. So, and the reason people support this piece of legislation is because it brings much needed reforms to the choice program while ensuring that veterans can access care in their communities. It's a good bill. Now, a few years back when we established the choice program, it was established with the very best of intentions. In my home state of Montana, it is a fact that veterans are waiting far too long for an appointment at the VA and oftentimes had to drive over 100 miles for an appointment. The choice program was supposed to allow these veterans to access this care closer to home. Unfortunately, it isn't working out the way it should. And veterans have been inundated with red tape and a government contractor that struggles to schedule appointments and pay providers on time. And that is why we all work together, Democrats and Republicans, even independents, on this bill to put forth these much-needed reforms. The Veterans Choice Program cuts red tape so veterans can access care more quickly. And in fact, I made it clear from the get-go that I would not vote to extend the choice program until Congress and the VA have addressed some of the biggest concerns that I've been hearing from Montana veterans and community providers. So this program reimburses community providers more quickly once we get this bill passed for the care that they provided to our veterans. It reduces out-of-pocket costs for veterans receiving care through the choice program. It improves the sharing of medical records between the VA and community providers to better ensure seamless care for our veterans, whether they're seeing a VA doctor or a doctor in their community, and allows the VA to access all of the funding initially appropriated for this program to ensure that veterans' access to care is not disrupted. This bill is not going to fix everything, but it is certainly a step in the right direction. This legislation, combined with assurances that I've received from VA Montana, our VA folks within the state, will be allowed to schedule appointments for Montana veterans directly instead of going through an inept government contractor. It is my hope that we can make the choice program work the way it was intended when we first set it up, with the goal of serving those who have served our country. So again, I want to express my appreciation for taking this bill up on the floor, this Veterans Choice Program Improvement Act. And I think it's a prime example of how this body needs to work together to solve problems, in this case for our veterans community. And we should push this bill out as soon as possible. With that, I would yield the floor to Senator Moran. I want to thank the good senator from Kansas for his comments and his leadership, not only on the VA committee that we both serve, that's the authorizing committee, but also as chairman of the VA Milcon Subcommittee on Appropriations, the subcommittee that really sees how the money is going to be utilized within the VA. I think Senator Moran has covered just about all of it. I just want to go back and say one thing. We're going to have an unanimous consent request, and I'm told that there will be an objection to it, and I think that's truly unfortunate because this has been a bipartisan effort. It's cleared everyone in the Senate except for one person, to my knowledge, and I think that's unfortunate. But that aside, one of the complaints that I hear is that the primary payer provision of this bill is what the problem is. Now, the primary payer provision of this bill requires the VA to be exactly that, the primary payer to the bills of a veteran that would accrue. Now, my question would be is why is this a bad thing? I mean, right now, veterans are being hamstrung and delayed, and the folks who provide the benefits, the providers, are not getting the dollars in a timely manner. And I would just tell you that if not the VA to be the primary payer, who is? These folks have put it on the line for this country, and they come back in different shape than when they left after they've borne the battles of war. Some of the injuries seen, some of the injuries are unseen. And we're not going to say, you know what, don't worry about it. We're going to make sure you got the care, and we're going to make sure it's paid for. It's part of the cost of war. And so when we send our young men and women off to war, we ought to be thinking about this stuff. And we have a solution. We have a solution to part of the problems with the choice program. And if we get this bill passed, it gives us the opportunity to work together to get a long-term bill passed before the first of the year to really address the needs of our veterans so that there are wraparound services to the VA that the veterans can count on. And I would just say, you know, sometimes this is supposed to be a very deliberative body, and for the most part it is pretty deliberative. But when you have a situation of a program that we put into effect, that Congress passed, that the Senate had big part of writing, and it's not working, we ought to fix it. And this bill fixes it in good part. We've got some more to do, as I said, but this bill is a step in the right direction in cutting red tape and making it easier for veterans to find care and get care, whether it's in the VA or outside the VA. And it's also something that the Veterans Administration sorely needs to move it forward. So I just want to say that we come in here and we have good arguments and we have good discussions, and we have sometimes politics comes into the discussion. In this particular case, folks have set to the table, whether it's Senator Isakson or Senator McCain or Senator Moran or myself or any of the others on the Veterans Affairs Committee, and we've come up with a solution. And we've come up with a solution that 99% of the people in this body agree with. But yet we can't get it across the finish line, and we wonder why our popularity is in single digits in this country. So I'm just going to close by saying I want to thank everybody from both sides of the aisle who worked together to get this bill crafted and get this bill to this point. I would hope that at some point in time, people would take a look at this bill for what it does and realize that there aren't boogeymen in this bill, that our veterans deserve us to work together to find solutions, to move the ball forward so they can get the health care that they were promised when they sign on the dotted line, protect this country.